Well, good morning. My name is Rocky Moretti. Moretti is Moretti, and I'm the Director of Policy and Research with TRIP. And I'm here today to present the findings of TRIP's new report looking at the condition and use of West Virginia's transportation system. The format today is that I will provide my comments. We are then going to hear from Secretary Todd Rumbaugh of the West Virginia Department of Transportation. And then we'll hear from Jason Pizzatella, the CEO of the Contractors Association of West Virginia. And we're also hoping that Mark Poland, the chairman of the West Virginia Business and Industry Council, will be able to join us. He's currently tied up and trying to get over to the news conference in time. TRIP as an organization was formed in 1971. And since then, we have released over 600 reports looking at the condition and performance, including road and bridge condition, traffic safety and traffic congestion, and vehicle travel, and also freight travel at the state level. TRIP is an organization supported by a coalition of manufacturing, insurance, construction, labor, and engineering organizations. They look to us to put out the latest information on the nation's transportation system. TRIP's new report, Keeping West Virginia Moving Forward, is based on data that we collected from the West Virginia Department of Transportation, as well as the latest data available from the U.S. Department of Transportation. The report includes data on road and bridge condition, on vehicle travel and vehicle safety across the state, as well as regional data. For my initial comments, I'll provide data for the Charleston urban area. But when we get to question and answers, if reporters would also like to be able to take me on camera giving information for their urban area, just indicate that during the question period at the end, and I'll go ahead and provide data for those urban areas. Let's take a look at the key findings of the report itself. The most critical finding is that while additional funding at the state and federal level have been critical in allowing West Virginia to move forward with numerous projects to improve the condition of its system, we've also seen in the last several years a significant increase in inflation of highway construction costs. And that unfortunately has dented to some extent the impact of these additional funds. In 2017, West Virginia received a significant boost in funding, both legislatively and subsequently in a voter referendum that allowed the state to move forward with its Road to Prosperity program that allowed West Virginia to increase investment in its roads and bridges by 67% from 2018 to 2023. The state was further assisted when the federal bipartisan infrastructure bill was approved in 2021, which provided an additional $3.6 billion for surface transportation in West Virginia. This additional funding has allowed the state to move forward with the repaving of 8,400 miles of roadways in West Virginia and the repair of 3,400 bridges since 2018. Unfortunately, a significant increase in highway construction inflation, which since the beginning of 2022 has increased the price of highway construction projects by 45%. This has had a significant negative impact on the ability of these additional funds to proceed with needed work. Let me turn to some of the other critical findings of the report. The TRIP report noted that 30% of major roads, whether they're maintained by local or state government, have pavements in poor or mediocre condition. In the Charleston area, the report finds that 28% of the region's major roadways have pavements in poor or mediocre condition, which is costing motorists in the Charleston area an additional $482 annually in the additional vehicle operating cost as a result of driving on roads in rough condition. The TRIP report also looked at the condition of bridges and found that 19% of bridges in West Virginia currently are rated in poor condition. This doesn't indicate that the bridges are unsafe. If they were, they would be closed, whether they were local or state maintained, or they'd be restricted to carrying lighter vehicles. The challenge is that these bridges obviously are absolutely vital to the quality of life and the health of West Virginia's economy. And so moving forward, the state needs to significantly improve the overall condition of the state's bridges. In the Charleston area, the report found that 12% of bridges are rated in poor condition and in need of repairs. The report also took a look at vehicle travel and traffic congestion in West Virginia, and the report noted that from 2022 to 2024, we've seen a 6% increase in vehicle travel as West Virginia, as states across the country, have rebounded from the COVID-19 pandemic. In the Charleston area, the trip report finds the average motorist is spending an additional 26 hours annually stuck in traffic due to traffic congestion and wasting an additional 16 gallons of fuel, which is costing the average Charleston area motorist $744 annually due to traffic congestion. The report also noted that over the last 5 years, there have been 1,340 traffic fatalities in West Virginia, which is approximately 268 traffic fatalities annually. The report noted that the rate of traffic fatalities in West Virginia is the 5th highest nationally, and the rate of traffic fatalities on West Virginia's non-interstate rural roads is approximately double on all other roads. The U.S. Department of Transportation in 2022 released a comprehensive approach to improving traffic safety and significantly reducing traffic fatalities across the country, including in West Virginia. And this plan starts obviously with the motorists themselves, that they're driving at a safe speed, that they're paying attention while they're driving, and certainly that they're not impaired. But it also recognizes the importance of improving roadway safety features, everything from adding rumble strips on rural roads to improving intersection design to making sure that barriers are in place when necessary so that motorists don't have collisions with anything that might be off the roadway, improving lighting, and including features for pedestrian and bicyclists. These features have been found to have a significant impact on improving traffic safety and will be critical in West Virginia, but obviously requires that transportation agencies, state and locally, have the funding available to make those improvements. Finally, the report points out how critical the transportation system, particularly highways, are to the quality of the state's economy, noting that $126 billion of goods annually are being shipped in and out of West Virginia, the majority of those on trucks. And also, the report also notes that by 2050, the value of goods shipped in and out of West Virginia is anticipated to increase by 88%. I'll conclude my comments there, and I'll ask the Secretary to provide his comments.
Hello, this is Secretary Todd Rumbaugh with West Virginia. I would like to first thank the TRIP folks for the report. It really echoes and shows that the investments we made, while they have helped, that is not adequate. In 2015, when the Blue Ribbon Commission filed their report saying we needed $1.1 billion in additional funds per year, and then shortly thereafter, we were granted a bond program of $1.6 billion from former Governor Justice in the Roads to Prosperity. While that did help, and we put that money to good use, doing a lot of projects and bringing things up to modern standards, it did not solve all of our problems and only began to touch on things. We realized that we're over those programs and our funding levels are declining. We are looking to reorganize and restructure with the guidance of Governor Morrisey. We're going to get much more efficient. We're going to improve our roadways. Our goals are to get our good roads level increased and to decrease the poor structures. We hope to work over that, work and concentrate on those areas over the next 4 years. Additionally, we do have some areas that we realize that we need to do some work based on congestion. A few areas of the state are growing, and that's a great thing, but it does create a congestion problem, and we realize we need to work in those areas also to get ahead of the game where we can. And, our roads, we are the most mountainous state in the country. Everywhere you go, you're up, down, around, and around. It almost becomes roller coaster on some of our roads. Distracted driving is one of the highest causes of accidents. The use of cell phones while people are driving has dramatically increased, which has led to a lot more accidents around the country. Any death on a road in West Virginia is one too many. And so we are doing high friction surface treatments to make the roads safer. We are adding rumble strips, additional siding and curb areas, and reviewing any areas with high accident rates to see if we can improve and make our roads safer for the public. We'll continue down this path until we can get to 0 deaths, whatever it takes. I appreciate you all having me on here, and hopefully the next report you have from West Virginia will show a dramatic increase from us. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary. We're now going to hear from Jason Piscatella.
Thank you, Rocky. Jason Piscatella, Chief Executive Officer of the Contractors Association of West Virginia. First, want to thank David, Rocky, Carolyn, Lisa, and the whole team from TRIP for compiling this report for us. TRIP has been a great partner for West Virginia for a number of years, and this year is no exception. As the report laid out, we've certainly made tremendous progress since 2017 in the passage of the Roads to Prosperity Constitutional Amendment and also the Infrastructure Investment Jobs Act passage in the fall of 2021. Both of those acts combined together provided an investment in West Virginia's road and bridge infrastructure that is nothing short of transformational. But as I say that, and as the Secretary already pointed out, it's not adequate to keep our system where West Virginians, both those who live here and those who work here and visit here, expect. And so I think it's critical that all our policymakers continue investing in our roads and bridges in West Virginia, both at the state level, in the legislature, and in the Morrissey administration. I know it's a priority of the governors, but also in Washington, as Congress begins already the debate on what to do once IIJA expires in the fall of 2026, which is not that far away. So we as contractors, we're committed to delivering every single project that Secretary Rumbaugh asks us to deliver, because we live here, we visit here, we drive here, and our members take great pride in what they do and the system and the work that they do as a public service on behalf of West Virginia. And we also are mindful of April being Work Zone Safety Month, but for CAWV workforce, every day is Work Zone Safety Day. We want to make sure that the men and women that are out there that are working for our contractors and working for DOH have a safe place to work and they can go home to their families every night. So we wanted to make that emphasis on work zone safety, just as everyone is seeing more orange construction barrels and cones on the road as the season picks up. Remind people to slow down, don't drive distracted, and observe the posted speed limit so that those construction and traffic congestion problems that Rocky outlined in the report, as Todd said, aren't as bad in a few years once we ask you to do this again. So thank you. TRIP's been a great partner of CAWV's, and we're happy to be a partner with you.
Thank you. I'm going to now ask Carolyn to explain how we'll handle questions.
Thanks, Rocky. I'm Carolyn Kelly. I'm the Director of Communication for TRIP. At this point, we'll be able to do a brief Q&A with our speakers this morning. The way that'll work is that you'll be able to use the either raise hand function via Zoom or the chat function and let us know that you'd like to ask a question. I'll then be able to promote those people to a panelist, and we'll be able to see and hear you, ask your question live, and also ask any follow-ups as well. So while we wait for any questions to come in or any virtual hands to go up, I'll also note that the full report that we're releasing today is up on our website. You can find that at tripnet, tripnet.org. We'll also have a recording of this news conference up there by around 11 o'clock as well, if you'd like that. So I see we've got one question that's come in from WTRF 7 News. I will promote you to a panelist, and then once you unmute your line, you'll be able to ask your question. You can unmute your line and go ahead with your question.
Thank you. First question is, obviously Wheeling is a northern panhandle. We've got a lot of older bridges up here. What is the report saying specific for this area? This is more for Rocky, I guess. And then I also have a question for Secretary Rambaugh on the Market Street Bridge. Any update on that?
Sure. Let me first go through the data for Wheeling, and then Secretary will let you talk about the local question. The trip report found that in the Wheeling area, 31% of the region's major roadways have pavements in either poor or mediocre condition, which is costing the average motorist in the Wheeling area $493 annually in additional vehicle operating costs because of driving on rough roads. The trip report found that in the Wheeling area, 14% of the region's bridges are rated in poor condition and in need of repair, and another 45% are rated in fair condition. The trip report found that the average Wheeling area motorist is spending an additional 39 hours annually stuck in traffic due to traffic congestion and wasting 18 gallons of fuel, which is costing the average Wheeling area motorist $1,069 annually in the cost of lost time and wasted fuel. Secretary, I'll now ask you to address the second half of that question.
Okay, the Market Street Bridge. Currently, we have received a grant for that bridge, and we have began procurement for a consultant to work on the design, and that's where we are in that process. Going forward, once that contract is finalized with the consultant for the design of the bridge, they will then begin that process of designing, working with the public. There'll be public meetings being held, and we'll go through that whole process in order to get the bridge replaced, get us a new one up there.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rocky, and thanks, Secretary. We've got a question next from Ashley Perham. Ashley, if you unmute your line, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, I'm Ashley Perham with the Charleston Gazette Mail. Y'all touched on the different funding sources and amount of funding the state has seen for road infrastructure and improvements. Is there a particular area of the state that has, I guess, needed or has used more of that funding than another area, or has it been more evenly spread out? How has that worked?
I think I'll let the Secretary address that.
The funding during the Roads to Prosperity, we made it a point to just try to distribute the money as equally as possible around the state. Granted, there are some areas that may have received a little more, but that's due to the nature or size of some of the projects in the areas in which they're on. You know, a lot of the interstates, that work is costly and might take a little bit more money in those areas. But overall, I think if you look back of what we have done, we distributed around the state as evenly as possible.
Thank you. And I think a follow-up on that, I drive 64 a lot through Huntington to Charleston, and, you know, there's been road construction. I have not lived here that long, but it just seems like it's constantly changing over there on 64. Is there any end date in sight for that construction over there?
Yes, we just finished up, of course, with the Nitro St. Albans area, that interchange. on down towards Huntington Way. They are still working on those projects down there. We'll be at least another year or so there, and then that should wrap that up.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ashley. We've got a question next from Jalen Lamp with WBOI. Jalen, if you unmute your line, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, I'm Jalen Lamp with WBOY. I just had a question in regards to upcoming construction. Here in North Central West Virginia, we've seen a pretty big increase in Whitehall, around Morgantown on the split of I-79 and I-68. And I was just wondering if there was anything else upcoming that we could kind of tell our viewers about, as we've been subjected to a lot of construction here recently. Thank you.
Currently on I-79 from more or less Bridgeport up to Morgantown, I-68, all those bridges along through there, we are working to replace and widening them to 6 lanes from 4 lanes. So that will continue for the next year or two. So you're going to see that. And we also have several design projects on some of the interchanges in the Morgantown area that we are working on.
All right, thanks, Jalen. Our next question comes from WTRF7 News. If you unmute your line, and you can go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you. I appreciate getting a second question in here. My assistant news director pointed out the suspension bridge in Wheeling, historic bridge, been closed for several years now. Secretary Rumbaugh, do you have any, is there any future transport where that's going to be a car bridge again, a vehicle bridge, or what is the future for the suspension bridge?
Well, that is a very good question, and I'd love to give you a very good answer. That's one of the subjects that I haven't been able to get into yet, but plan to get into when I get a chance. I've only been in this position for about 90 days, but the Wheeling Suspension Bridge is very precious to us. It's historic, and we must take good care of it and see that it remains standing. So I can't truly answer you exactly what our plan is at this time because I have not had enough time to get to that at this point. I apologize for that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Secretary. And it looks like we've got a follow-up question from Ashley Perham. Actually, you can go ahead.
Thank you. Just something I thought of probably for Trip, but if a bridge, y'all mentioned a bridge is in poor condition, does not mean it's unsafe because it would be closed if it's unsafe. If it's in poor condition, I guess, is there like a time where repairs need to happen before it will be determined unsafe? Like how does something go from poor to, or go from fair condition or whatever the middle one is to poor condition?
I'm going to defer to the secretary on that.
The bridges are rated. We do bridge inspections every so many years, and the condition that comes out of those inspections will suggest what needs fixed or repaired on the bridges. Additionally, if they get in a poor condition, we inspect them more frequently. What happens then is we re-rate the bridges based on loading, and then we will put out the silhouette signs. That's the bridge loading signs that you'll see that are black and white on each end of the bridge. That tells you what type of trucks, how much weight they support, and what it can handle. A lot of the bridges we have that are listed as, structurally deficient, the only problem there may be is they're not up to current, we would call current standards. For example, you may have a road that you have a 24-foot road coming up to each side of a 2-lane bridge, but the bridge itself, it may only be 22 foot wide. There'd be nothing wrong with the bridge. It could be perfectly good condition. However, it's considered structurally deficient because it is not the same width as the roadway through there. So there are things like that we have that while they may be called structurally deficient, or it's not really they're not really bad bridges. They're good condition. They just do not meet current standards that we would have. And eventually, when they start falling into disarray, they'll be replaced and brought up to the current standards. But for the time being, we try to focus more on the ones that are poor and need repaired and replaced.
Thank you.
At the moment, I don't see any other hands up or questions. I'll also note that Rocky and myself will be available throughout the day for additional follow-up questions, and we can also put you in touch with Secretary Rumbaugh or with Jason if you have any additional questions. Rocky, I'll turn things back over to you.
Well, I just want to again thank Secretary Rumbaugh for taking the time to participate in our news conference, and also to Jason for participating in today's conference call. And again, we're certainly available for follow-up questions, and I appreciate everyone who chose to tune in and hear about our latest report. And I hope everyone has a good, safe, productive day. Thank you.